Hey, this is Lee. I want to do a quick video about patience, something that we all deal with, and it's really hard from time to time. But the story that made me think about this was the story of Jacob. It's a beautiful story. He goes to the well, he sees Rachel, his heart just falls out, he falls in love. So Genesis 29:18, and Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee, that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and it seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. 7 years he labored for the woman of his dreams. And he had a long time to dream for her. But as it turns out, Laban tricked him. And when he thought he married Rachel, he actually married Leah, her sister. So he worked another 7 years until he got the woman of his dreams, Rachel. 14 years he waited for her. Patience, that's patience. And again, in verse 20 it says, and Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had to her. That's beautiful. Unfortunately, we tend not to have that same patience. For example, when we think about Bible times, we think that, let's look at the book of Acts. On the timeline of the book of Acts, Jesus' death, resurrection, ascension, and the day of Pentecost happened in 30 AD, not 33.5 AD as some think. It was 30 AD. And then Peter heals the crippled man at the gate called Beautiful, the temple. And it was a whole year later. It was a whole year that they waited for that moment. If you read on, like Acts 6, 7 deacons chosen. That was 3 years from Jesus' ascension into heaven. You go all the way down to Acts 9, when Saul's converted on the road to Damascus. It was 5 years after Jesus had died on a cross and rose up to heaven. And it goes on and like this. Peter has to defend having preached to the Gentiles in the house of a Gentile. That was 10 years after Jesus died. He rose again and went to heaven. So you see, when we read Acts and we think that these things just happened, boom, 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 for the apostles, it didn't. It took time. Time is the key point there. When Paul left for his first missionary journey, it was 16 years after Jesus died. See what I mean? Patience. God's time is not our time. It's when Paul goes to Berea, Acts 17, it was 20 years after Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. 20 years. And then Paul goes to Corinth for his first, Paul writes to Corinthians, his first letter was 25 years later. 25 years. And even though I know this, and I've been studying this for a long time, and I've written papers on it, I've done videos, I've preached this sermon about it, it still amazes me that God's time is not our time. It's just the way it is. We have to wait upon the Lord. And for example, when Paul arrives in Rome, Acts 28:16, it is 30 years after Jesus died. See what I mean? 30 years from the end of the 4 Gospels to Paul in Rome is 30 years. It's amazing, isn't it? So that's my video for today. Just a quick thing about patience and time. God will work out His plan for you in time, if you're patient and you don't get in his way and you just wait upon the Lord. Remember Moses, 40 years he heads to Mount Sinai. 40 years he stays there. He goes back to Egypt in another 40 years. 120 years a total. See, God's time's not our time. Just wait upon the Lord. It'll come when it's supposed to come. It'll happen when it should. I love you with all my heart. May God bless you and keep you in Jesus' name. Like and subscribe my page. Come back often. I got more videos to come. I love you with all my heart. Oh, and act like somebody. And have fun. Smile a lot. Love you. Bye.